Good morning.
With the world news at 11.
Listen to the world
The
news
humanitarian pause in
now.
fighting between Israel and Hamas will
I tak
extend
make up
by
lah.
2
Tapi
days
I tak
as an
powder,
initial 4-day
yellow
truce in
beige
Gaza
colour
was set to
powder.
expire.
Cause
Qatari
my
Foreign
hair is
Ministry
yellowish
spokesman Majid
colour,
Al-Ansari on X said
blonde,
that an agreement had been reached
platinum
to
blonde,
extend the humanitarian
yellowish
truce for an
colour. So,
additional 2 days in the Gaza Strip.
I wear yellow beige colour.
In the
So
meantime,
dia
the
masuk
United
ni.
Nations welcomes the extension of the ceasefire in Gaza. Its Secretary General
Very
Antonio
suitable
Guterres
with,
described the action as
yellow
giving
beige
some
colour.
hope to the Palestinian people. He hoped that with the agreement, more humanitarian aid could be channeled to the people of Gaza. Now, over the course of the initial truce, a total of 50 civilian hostages, women and children were expected to be freed by Hamas. In exchange, 150 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel were to be released and humanitarian aid allowed into Gaza. During its first 3 days, 39 Israeli hostages were freed by Hamas in exchange for 117 Palestinian prisoners held
We
in
listen to the
Israeli
news for a
jails
while.
as part of the deal
The
between
world
the two
news,
sides.
11
As a
o'clock
result
news
of
is the
parallel
world news.
negotiations led by the Gulf
Come
state,
at 12 o'clock
17
news
Thais,
later.
one Filipino and one dual
I
Russian-Israeli
think by 12,
national have also been
I
released by
finished my
Hamas.
business today.
Meanwhile, Israel's prison
Shopping,
authority said early Tuesday that 33 Palestinian prisoners had been released during the
grocery
night
shopping.
under the terms of a truce deal that returned hostages from the Gaza Strip. The release brought the total number of detainees freed by Israel during the initial 4-day pause in the fighting to 150.
I need to buy
61 trucks
coconut
carrying
milk
medical supplies,
also.
food and water
I have to
had
go to
delivered
the
their
coconut
payloads
milk
in northern Gaza as a
kiosk.
pause in fighting allows aid to enter the besieged coastal territory. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, said in a statement that another 200 trucks had been dispatched to the Gaza Strip from Nitzana, Israel, with 187 of them having made it past the border
My hair at
by
the back
the
is so
early
fine.
evening
It's
local
so
time.
like
11
you know,
ambulances, 3 coaches and a flatbed were
so
delivered to Al
balanced,
Shifa
so,
Hospital,
in
which had seen
shape,
heavy
you
fighting
know.
in recent days, to assist with evacuations. Meanwhile, a French warship arrived on Monday in the
I feel
Egyptian
like
town of El Arish
putting
near
all
the border with the conflict-torn
all the
Gaza Strip
colours
to
blonde
serve as a
first.
hospital for
All the
wounded
at the back
civilians.
also
The
blonde.
Dixmude is expected to
then,
have 2 operating rooms
eye
and 40
colour.
beds.
So
According to
I
the United
bleached to
Nations,
all
hundreds
blonde
of critically
first
wounded
at sideburn
Palestinians
and at the
have
back,
crossed
at the
into Egypt
bottom.
in recent
All
weeks
blonde
with
colour,
special exit
platinum
permits after
blonde.
the majority of
And
hospitals
then,
in Gaza were forced out of service.
colour
U.S. Secretary of State
into
Anthony Blinken will pay
caramel,
his
half
third
of the
wartime
caramel
visit to the
brown
Middle East
colour
this
mixed
week,
with
just as
a
mediators
whole
announced an extension of a truce
ash
in
blonde.
Gaza. A
So the
senior
colour
U.S.
become
official said the
nicer,
top U.S. diplomat would meet
like
with Israeli Prime
skin
Minister
colour,
Benjamin
you know,
Netanyahu in
beige
Tel Aviv
colour,
and with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in
beige
Ramallah.
blonde.
The official
And
said
then
in his meetings in the
highlight
Middle
is this
East,
colour.
the secretary will
Highlight
stress
is
the
this
need to
colour.
sustain the
And then
increased
mix
flow
with black
of
at
humanitarian
the back.
assistance
Inside,
to Gaza,
inside is black.
secure the release of all
So here
hostages,
also
and improve
I
protection to
bleach
civilians
like
in
front
Gaza.
here and the regrowth rich first.
Separately, the United Nations chief on Monday
Next
urged
week
world leaders to take
when
decisive action
because
to
I
tackle
ordered the
ever
new for
worsening
the
climate
new
change when they gather at the COP28
scalp
summit
cap
in Dubai
for
starting
do
this week.
highlighting, hair
Guterres said
highlighting.
leaders must act to
I
limit
do by
global
myself,
temperature
but I
rise
don't
to
need
1.5 degrees
kalau
Celsius,
suruh orang tak
protect
pandai
people from
mungkin,
climate
so I
chaos,
bantu
and end
sendiri.
the fossil fuel
Boleh je
age.
I buat
He
sendiri
spoke
je.
ahead of the summit, where
Scalp tu I buat
70,000
sendiri
people
je.
are
I
expected to
tengok
attend
channel.
the largest United Nations climate summit ever.
It's easier.
And finally, hurricane-force winds, snowfall, and flooding that swept parts of southern Russia, Ukraine, and Moldova left at least 8 people dead Monday and almost 2
To have
million
a
without
V
power.
shape,
The violent weather has lashed the southern regions of Dagestan, Krasnodar, and Rostov, as well as the occupied Ukrainian territories of Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, Zaporizhia, and Crimea since Sunday. Russia's energy ministry said about 1.9 million people were affected by the power
tahan
cuts.
2 tahun. Kalau dah inject
And that
Sculptra,
concludes
kalau
the
silap
11
inject
a.m.
kat
news
mana,
updates
jadi
prepared
besar
by Alif
muka
Haris.
besar.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have
Cannot
a
help,
wonderful
you
Tuesday
cannot
ahead
inject with
from
the